Hey guys, and welcome to Pretty Eyes. My name is Lavana. Thanks for tuning into the show. If this is your first time tuning into this show is based off of domestic violence survivors' life after. If this is your first time, please hit that bell, subscribe, so you can get further future notifications for things that are coming forth. First of all, I would like to give honor to God and give him the glory, because if it was not for him, I wouldn't be here doing the show. Neither one of us would be sitting here doing this show. So we can help someone be empowered. Also, hopefully we can help someone be able to be encouraged. If it's something that this is not for you, you can go ahead and close it now, or you can share this over to someone that could be helpful to them. This is basically something that the Lord has put into my spirit to do. So hopefully this will be a happy thing. We don't want you to be sad. We don't want you to be depressed. We want you to show those pretty eyes. And at the same time, understand that there is life after. Even if you've been in a bad situation, there's more life to come. That was just a little roughage that you went through, and God's seen you get through it. And so I have a few questions that I am going to ask my special guest, and then I'm going to turn it over to her. So hopefully when you're watching this, if this is something that maybe you feel like, oh, I have a friend, or I have a coworker, or I have a family member, or someone that's went through some of the similarities of things that we're going to be talking about, go ahead and pass it over to them. And at the end, I'm going to give you an 800 number. I gave one last week. Also, I talked about some different type of abuses last week. And like I told you guys before, we're going to be having a different guest every week, every other week. Sometime it will be me alone, and then sometime I will have very special guests. And I'm still working on getting men on, guys. So please be patient with me. With that being said, let me turn it over to my friend Rashada. She's been a great friend of mine for a very long time. And I really feel like she was a God's connection just from the day I've met her. So I'm going to turn that over, and I'm going to start the questions. All right, Rashada. Oh, I'm so excited that she's here to do this. So first question.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. And if you want to say anything to the people before I start asking you questions, feel free.
Just God is love and love is God.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. So the first question that I'm going to ask tonight is, how long were you in the domestic violence situation?
Well, too long.
Okay.
Because one day is too many.
Yes, one day is too many.
But it was really like 2.5 years. I met this guy. I was very young.
Yes.
This wasn't recent, but nevertheless.
Yes, it's never too late. Never too late.
I met this guy. Of course, he fed me a lot of false hope and dreams about what our future would look like. Slowly but surely, it started deteriorating when I saw his true colors.
Yes.
And it started with him attacking my character, and making me feel less than, a queen.
Yes.
None of his treatment resembled how a king should treat a queen.
That's right.
And then he goes on to tell me I'm going to be nothing but a stripper, and just trying to break my spirits daily, instead of uplifting me and complimenting me and caressing me. So those are the first signs. So the attacking of my character led to arguments. Arguments led to him choking me one day.
Yes.
Which I thought was really scary. And
yes, that is very
his
scary.
eyes were evil, when he was doing it. And I didn't even think about leaving him at the time, because I thought he loved me so much. I thought him displaying so much emotion meant that he cared for me and he loved me.
Right.
But slowly after that, he went to jail, and I stood by his side, and he began to write me letters. And
most people do, y'all. Yeah. Most people do this. So, like what she was just talking about, like defaming her character, putting her down, trying to break her spirit, those are the ultimate sign that you have a person that has insecurity issues, a person that really is kind of jealous of you because they don't have the strength that they see in you. So they want to break the spirit down so that way they can have full control, of what I've talked about before. Exactly. And like she was saying, she stuck by his side, or thinking that, this is not probably as serious as she thought that it really, really was, until more things happen. Do tell.
Yes. So he went to jail, and I tried to stay by his side, still in hopes of this future he's painted for us that was not taking place yet. I was yet to see.
Not good.
Yeah, and then he verbally abused me in the letters, and it was like more like a job for me to write him instead of me wanting to write him.
Yeah,
and,
like a chore.
Yeah, it was a chore, and it became a chore. And then if I missed a week a couple of times, and he just cussed me out in a letter, and
that's not good.
And I just decided, hey, what am I doing?
Yes. See, y'all remember when I was telling you about that light coming on? That light coming on, like, I'm not put on this earth to be disrespected in any kind of way. No. You know, the more you value yourself, and it's probably good that he was away, so that way you can have that alone time, so you can really think. Because when you're involved in it and you're around it constantly, you really can't think clear. You don't have a clear mind of what should I do, or how is this person treat me right? Is this the right way? So what she's saying, I hope that someone can be able to identify with, you know, maybe just them going through it. Even if it wasn't a person that went to jail. Say if they just moved out of town. And when you have that space to yourself, that's when it's that time to say, okay, self, is this right? Should I talk to him again? Or think about those last words that person said to you. And remember I told y'all before that this is not just for women being abused as well. This is also men that go through this. But the men really don't maybe want to talk about it. Maybe it makes them feel less of a man, but we will get somebody to be talking about that soon. All right, so I'll let you finish your story.
So I wasn't very spiritual then, so it took me a little while to catch on that I didn't need to be treated like that.
Yes.
I wasn't talking to God at the time, so I was kind of led astray.
Yes.
Until, like I said, I mentioned all the profanity and the letters. Didn't feel like I was wanted. I was just there to make him feel better. So that's my love. Remember I told y'all, love don't hurt. Right.
And hurt people hurt people.
Exactly.
So the main thing of, you know, what she's saying is she was doing it, but really just to please him. But she wasn't being pleased herself.
Exactly.
You know, she's doing it like, let me make sure he doesn't get mad at me. And, you know, because I've been there. Yeah. I've totally been there. So I understand what you're talking about.
Exactly. So it was easier for me to wean myself from him because he was locked up. And he was locked up because of drugs. And, you know, so he wanted to be a bad boy. And I thought I had me a bad boy. And he was older than me. And he ended up being nothing. I mean, after I decided to leave, I didn't speak with him for over 20 years.
Oh, that's really good.
And a part of me,
stop right there. That is a part that a lot of people don't know how to, they'll leave, but then they go back, and then they'll leave and they go back. So tell the people, what was your strength that made you say, once you left, I'm not going back to that again?
Well, I moved out of the city for one.
Okay, that helped.
And then with him being a thug per se, or a bad boy, I decided I didn't want to be with anyone like that anymore. I wanted to be with someone with a whole nother character, a decent professional man. Yes. So that helped me there, and the relocating out of town. He didn't have access to me, so when he did get out of jail, he didn't know where to find me.
That's good.
Yeah, so that helped a lot. When I spoke with him after 20-something years, he explained to me that he was a young man. Yeah, and he was younger than he told me he was. I was lying. He lied about his age originally, so I thought he was 5 years older than me.
So y'all people listen to this because this is a true testimony. So I don't want you to think that this is something that's coerced for her to say about what truly happened. A lot of times people do make you feel like they're up, they're up here and you're down here.
Exactly.
So you can feel like, oh, I want to have confidence in this person when you really need it in yourself. And once you go through something like that, what it does is, at first it does make you feel a little sad or a little down on yourself. But then what it does is make you stronger. It also builds up that confidence where if you've seen a person like that going forward, you can detect it a mile away.
Exactly.
So you wouldn't be able to, you would learn the signs from just going through. But I just hope that so many people don't have to go through it. This is what this show is about, to learn the signs. Like I was talking about last week with you guys about different signs, or emotional depression, emotional or finance abuse, or just different type of abuse. It can be verbal, it can be emotional. There's so many different ways. So it doesn't have to be physical, like I talked to you guys about before. All right, so I have another question. What was the stopping point for you, Rashada? Not just the choking, but what was it what was it that came into your spirit or into your heart to let you know, like,
Well, I felt alone. And how do you feel alone when you're in a relationship?
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, so I felt alone. I felt empty.
Yeah.
Like I had no one to love me. And then my mom and my sister, they had, they were in a relationship, and I felt like an outsider.
Yes.
So I was like, I want more. I want a loving relationship.
Yes.
So I went out to seek that.
That's good. And then talk about what the people, how can I say this? How can a person, whether it be man or woman, be able to detect a person that is that way without even, like when you first get into the first stages of the relationship?
Well, that was my first relationship, so I had nothing to compare it to. But after that, I know
you
that
knew what
we need
love
to
was later. Yes,
we need to uplift each other, and that in a relationship, it's give or take. It's not all about you giving yourself to someone. They need to give back to you. You need to be more like a team.
Yes.
And he made it seem like he was my authority. An
like
authoritative figure.
Yeah, like you have to answer to him.
Yes, because first of all, he lied about his age, so I was under the impression he was 5 years older than me.
Yes.
So, of course, I'm following him, but
thinking that
it was the blind leading the blind, because he was definitely taking me nowhere.
And, remember I told you guys, sometimes people will make themselves feel, or make themselves to you seem like they're superior or they're more adequate of things than you are, so you can feel hopeless, or you can feel like. The main thing with an abuser, y'all, I've told you this before, that they want to feel needed. And if they can feel needed in any kind of way, that's when they're going to start putting their hooks into you. First, it starts with how do you dressing? Who are you hanging around? Why did you stay at that place so long? Different things like that. So even if you're not getting hit on or slapped around or choked or anything like that, these are the early stages that come before the actual physical abuse does happen. And last, I want to ask you, what are you doing today? And tell us how that's going.
Well, what I'm doing today is trying to live my best life.
Yes, indeed.
Praying and meditating every morning, asking God for direction, because without that, you can kind of be in a wilderness.
This is true.
Yeah, so I actually am in a relationship now.
Hey, y'all.
For a year and a half with a man who loves me dearly.
And no abuse.
No abuse.
This is very good.
Buys me flowers and, always moving forward, with a better plan for us.
Yes. And like she said about the teamwork, that's very important. So if someone if you moved out of that kind of relationship and you get into a new relationship like she did, you'll be able to identify the right way and the wrong way. If you start seeing stuff come that came from the past, and this is a person that is not that way, it is best to sit down and have a sit-down conversation with them, make them understand what your morals and your values are about, what your standards are. Because if you don't speak up or let that go on for so long, then it can turn bad. Because
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
And I believe you have to actually have that conversation with every person you meet. And yes, nobody has a perfect relationship.
That's
My
true.
relationship is not perfect.
Yes.
It took a few arguments to get us to where we are. But you do have to tell them how to respect you. And I'm not going to tolerate this.
That's right.
And after you tell them that, if they respect it, they really love you and they really care about your
And if they don't and they leave or say, I'm not doing it, they're not the person for you.
They're not the one for you.
Don't lower your standards or change your morals to be with somebody. Because we do have a lot of people, men and women, that today in society, they want to be loved so bad that they lowering how they really are just to be with someone.
Yes.
And
or
then
if they ask to change.
Yeah.
Ask to be changed.
And that's not... First of all, I feel like God has someone for everybody here on earth. And if you haven't met that special someone yet, then just wait on God. Like I've told y'all before, read that word. That's the number one thing that has helped me. It's helped a lot of people. And as you heard her state, that she reads every morning, she meditates. When you are being directed by God, you can't go wrong. The main thing is keep your focus. Don't let somebody take you off of your focus, whether that's man or woman. Think about the different things, the other segments that I have talked about different type of abuse. building yourself up, different things to do for yourself to make yourself feel healthy, make yourself feel happy. Because remember, we want to show pretty eyes. We want to show those eyes. And the main part about all of this is if you can gather yourself, then you'll be able to help someone else. If you're going through it, there's no way that you can help anybody else. A lot of people have kids, you know, and if your kids are seeing you go through this, whether it's man or woman, that you're setting a bad tone. You're setting a bad example of what they think it should be like in a relationship. And in your new relationship, you know, just let the people know how your initial feelings were when you first got with them. After being in a bad relationship and then you go to a good relationship, you do have these initial feelings like you can tell them.
Yes, and you're broken. And you have to fix stuff and be like, oh, it's not the same person.
Like I can't blame it. I can't compare.
Don't bring your baggage.
Yeah.
Just start anew. Try to be open-minded.
Yes.
Don't try to compare the two.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can
grow.
Yeah, grow together.
That's the main thing, because once you been into something like that, a lot of women or men become very bitter. They don't trust people. They feel like I don't have nobody to. How do I know they're not going to do the same thing that the last person did? So you just got to be mindful of your surrounding. And as I told you guys before, stay focused. Stay around positive people. Read that word. Show those pretty eyes. And also, just make sure that you are being kind to one another, because it's reciprocity. When you're kind to someone else, it comes back to you. And sometimes people are kind all the time and bad stuff just happens to them. But remember, God will take care of those people. So
and
you don't
respect each other.
Yes, respect each other, because we all here trying to accomplish one mission. Well, I'm trying to get to Christ, but we all trying to get we're trying to get to the kingdom. So some people are just working hard. You know, they're talking to people bad. They're treating people bad. They may be in a bad relationship. And a lot of times when people are angry or frustrated, it's because it's something that they're holding in. And it's because it's something that they're dealing with. But they don't know how to express it. So they express it in a bad way. So with that being said, do you have anything else for the people that you would like to share, Rashada?
Well, just remember, you are who God says you are.
Come on now. That's what I'm talking about.
And that's beautifully and wonderfully made.
Yes, indeed. That is so true, y'all. So keep in mind that He didn't put us here. He didn't put us here to be in sorrow, in pain, feeling scared. We're not supposed to fear nobody but God. So that's the way it should be. So I just want to say, I love you guys. Please stay encouraged. And again, I hope that this really helps someone, you know, take a note. And I did say that I would leave an 800 number, but I'm going to leave that on next week's show. I just want you guys to know that even though we both have been in abusive relationships in the past, it's never too late to live your life, because it's always life after. And I just want to say I love you guys. Thank you for the support. Please subscribe. If this is not for you, send it over to somebody that can really use this and be beneficial to them. We'll have more people coming on the show in weeks to come. So I love you. And don't forget, show those pretty eyes. And have a good night, y'all. See you next week.
Good night.